in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yo, what's up? I'm gonna kick it with the line, y'all know. Yo, Slim, can I kick it right here? Here we go. Well, it's time to make that change. People of the world today are fading. All of us have our ups and downs. You better think about it or you won't be around. What we need is a little bit of love, sent by one from heaven up above. Take a boutique, it's simple and plain. This ain't no game, you know what I'm saying? What?
It's time.
Yep.
Time to make the change.
Here we go.
We are the people who can do it.
Oh yeah.
It's time. Time to make the change. We are the people who can do it.
Yo, Mob, kick it from
Well, it's time. It's time to make a change. You are listening to Radio KBRG. Today is the good day to hear and learn what we need to move forward in business. And today we have Mike with the Credit Game. Mike, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Mike, before we get started, once again, this is our third show. We want you to, tell everybody about yourself, a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll get into it.
Absolutely. So, appreciate having me, guys. I started the first ever revolutionary credit game. It's not a board game. This is a game that if you play every day, you're going to get better at it. The statistics of people that actually have bad credit are 68% of America. 280 million people have bad credit. So what I designed is what was never taught in schools and was never taught by our mommy and daddy. And the credit game takes you through basically the steps that you would go through in levels of education, from high school to associates to bachelor's to master's to PhD, all the way up to doctorate. And the course is designed to help people educate themselves. So, Larry, one thing that I want to share with the people listening is this. Okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you have bad credit. It's that we were never taught what to do. And so I understand that people have collections and they have charge-offs and they have a lot of inquiries and some people have student loan debt and some people have bankruptcies and foreclosures and judgments and repossessions and all these negative things on their credit. But it does not need to hold you back from doing things in your life that you deserve. And so what I did is I created a credit game for myself. I was at a 505 credit score not too long ago, and I designed a platform where it'll take you through the levels that you need to really educate yourself in getting the education you need that you never had before. And today I've been in the high 800s for the last 6 years. And one thing that I share is that it's very easy to get somebody to an 800 credit score. The problem is most people, when they get there, they don't know how to maintain that credit score. And that's the more important thing, is that never having to pay a credit repair company again, never having to go backwards to where you are in a position where you can't get a car or can't get a house or can't get the good credit cards, that low interest rates. And so the credit game provides you with all this information. I've even got a portion, Larry, that I didn't talk about, which is for people that are looking for the quick fix. So I've partnered with the top vendor in trade lines, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I've partnered with the top agency in the United States for elite credit repair. There's only 4 people in the United States that have this software that is directly connected to the credit bureaus. So being part of the credit game for people that don't have the time, or, they are in a position where they need to get something fast, I've got you covered as well. And I've got the people covered from the education side as well, who are willing to take the time to go through it. So what I recommend is for people that are looking to get something quick, we put you through the elite credit repair service. And while you're going through getting your credit and the negatives challenged, you go through the education side of it. So that way you come out clean, you know exactly what you do and you never go backwards again. That's called the credit game.
All right. Well, basically, to paraphrase what you said, your life is not over because you have bankruptcies, negatives, and that type of thing, collections on your credit report. that life is not over. If you go through the Credit Game University, life will give you a new beginning.
100%. You, it's most people think they're in doomsday because they've got things because you get things on your credit report and you don't know how to remove them. And the typical credit repair company is designed to drag you out on a month-to-month platform. And so you can spend a couple $100 a month and they'll drag you for 18 months because they have no incentive when you're on a monthly plan to fix your credit. The difference is my incentive is to change the national credit average, which is 667 right now, and I'm going to raise that over 700. And I'm going to do that because this is the only platform that is duplicatable. And what I mean by that is it's a platform that only you get for yourself, but because it's a digital product, you could share it with your family, a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, a cousin, an uncle. You can share it with coworkers. You could share it with your clients. Literally, one person could get it, and it can spread like wildfire. And that's how the platform really just kind of multiplies. And sooner or later, what's going to happen is that the education of America is going to go up, and people are going to start making wiser decisions on credit, and then therefore the mission of raising the whole national credit average. You see, I care about the people, not what the banks think. The banks aren't going to like me, right? Because people with more credit have higher interest payments. So, the banks are going to say, I don't like the fact that he's changing the credit average because of the simple fact that, they're lower the credit score, higher the interest, more payments they're going to be making. When you start getting into the 700s and the 800s, well, then the interest rate payments go down and the banks make less money.
Yes.
But my mission is to change the people's world, the world that we live in, the life that we live in, not to worry about what banks think. And I've got a mission to, like I said, change the national credit average, and the Credit Game is going to be the one to do it. The first ever created platform to be able to really help the average person who, my typical student comes to me is probably at about a 550, 560 credit score. That's a typical person that comes to me. And so I've helped people from 340 credit score all the way up to, 847 was the highest, who was just looking for benefit on what kind of credit cards with the best travel points. So everything in between I've helped. And I've been doing this for over a decade now, and really, it's an honor to be on the show here. And anybody who wants help with credit, you can find me by going to Credit Game U, the letter U. So it's Credit Game, the letter U.com. You can go to my website there, or you can call me directly at 904-420-7772. We are willing to work with anybody to help them out. We'll never let money stand in the way of you getting the help you need. And that's one thing that I've told my team that, look, we're on a mission to change the world, and I will do that to help people. If it's a financial situation, I'm willing to work with anybody to help you to the best that I can, so that way you get the help you need and the right help.
Would you repeat your website again?
Sure. Credit Game, CreditGame, the letter U, like university.com. CreditGameU.com.
All right. And the phone number?
Phone number is 904-420-7772.
All right. And what are your hours?
The hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's going to be Eastern Standard Time.
So you have a answering service if they're calling from the West Coast?
Correct. If you're calling from the West Coast, I'm also open on Saturdays. Larry, I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but we have now opened up on Saturdays between 12 and 4. 12 to 4 on Saturdays, Eastern. Yes, to answer your question, yes. If we have an answering service, and when we get in the morning, if you call after hours, we make sure that we handle all the calls and we take care of you in the morning.
Okay, and that's what you said again, Monday through Fridays.
Yep, Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. All Eastern Standard. Okay. That's good. That's good. So as we move forward here, could you talk about we were talking about how people with a low credit score, how they can actually raise their credit score, and then we will get into some of the myths that people have, or the lies, number one lies they don't know that lowers the score.
Yeah, so the fastest way to raise your credit score is to understand what the biggest percentage of your credit is comprised of. So the fastest way to raise your credit score is going to be understanding that 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. So to raise your credit score, you need to remove late payments. That's the fastest way that you're going to raise your credit score. Now, there is one other way that is actually faster. And I'm going to teach you guys that as well. So the fastest way to raise your credit score is you want to be able to knock off late payments. Okay, so a lot of people, when they have late payments, it's again, let's take an example of somebody with a 700 credit score. Okay, if you had late payments, all right, you're 35% of that, you're talking about 200 points. So that could really crush your credit score. For people that are already in the 500s, their score is low because more than likely, if you're at a 550 credit score, you've got collections and you've got late payments. Or you wouldn't have the 500s. That generally correlates with a lower credit score because of the late payments and the collections. So what we want to do is we want to challenge the late payments. And generally, these are easy to be removed. The longer the late payment has been on there, the faster it can come off. The newer late payments are now, there's a system with our proprietary system that directly connects with the credit bureaus. They actually come off much, much faster because we're not doing the snail mail, the letters, the hardship letter, the old school 609 letters. There's a lot of techniques that with the software that you bypass kind of the snail mail. And the fastest way, Willie, to raise your credit score is to remove late payments. And so you have the software to do that. My vendor is one of 4 people in the nation that have the availability to help clients actually remove late payments, charge off collections, some of the hard things to get off. But to answer your question, there is another way that's a little bit faster. And so if you guys have ever heard of have you ever heard of trade lines before?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to let the listeners know what they are and what they can do and what the purpose of them are for.
Sure. Yeah. So with the credit game, I have partnered up with 2 of the best vendors in the United States. I've got the #1 trade line company, and I've got the #1 credit repair expert in the nation. So inside the credit game, you get significant discounts. In fact, you get free elite credit repair with coming into my program, and you get up to 75% off of trade lines off the competitor prices just by being in my program. So the fastest way you're going to raise your credit score is to get a trade line. Okay, and what a trade line is if you can imagine somebody that has a credit card, and let's say that credit card has 20,000 credit limit and it's 5 years old. And what has happened is this person, we're going to call this a card holder, is allowing a client to come on to their card as an authorized user. So what happens is it's almost like piggybacking. So when you have the person with the 20,000 credit limit, okay, that has perfect payment history, never missed any payments, that card they have is very low utilization, means they haven't used a lot of the card's credit limit, okay, under 20%, never any late payments, and that card reports to the credit bureaus. If I add you to that card as an authorized user, let's say the 20,000 5-year card is mine, and I say, hey, Larry, I want to add you as an authorized user. Well, all I'm going to do is I'm going to call my card, and I'm going to say, hey, I would like to add Larry onto my credit card as an authorized user. Well, what happens is this. They're going to ask me for your name, your date of birth, and your social. And when that happens is you're going to take over the credit limit and the age of everything that I've done over the last 5 years. And again, I'm using that example of 5 years. I've got cards that are 18, 19 years old. Okay. The older the card and the higher the credit limit, the more your score will raise. That's the way trade lines work. Okay. So, but anyway, what happens is you're really piggybacking off of my credit because you're taking my credit limit. And now what's going to happen is that 20,000 credit limit and that 5 years of perfect payment history, 60 months of perfect history, now reports onto your credit report as if it was you. And now what it does is it starts to push down the negatives. Now, if you don't have any negatives on it, on your credit report, that's great. Trade lines are phenomenal. If you've got negatives on your credit report, trade lines are phenomenal because they're going to push down the negatives. And the more we can push down the negatives by putting positives on there, you're going to increase your credit score. You have 5 accounts and all of them are negative and you don't have any positives, well, then your score is going to be horrible. But if you've got 4 or 5 negatives and we put 2 or 3 trade lines on, well, now we're looking okay, right? Because we've got, right. So now we're balancing. And that's what we want to do. We want to push down negatives. Trade lines are the fastest way you can increase your credit score. I have videos out on my YouTube. You guys can find me on Credit Game. The Credit Game is my YouTube channel. I've got over 250,000 followers on it. I grew the fastest credit channel on YouTube ever in history because I give real content out to help people. And but I've got videos where I've got people that have raised their credit score 150 points in 7 days. And that is by understanding how trade lines work. And when you understand that you can literally take a trade line and add that trade line with a high credit limit and old card. Now, if you put something on like a trade line like 3,000 credit limit that's got 6 months of history on it, it's probably not going to make a big impact. But if you're looking at something like 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, and it's got over, a couple years, 3, 4, 5 years old, the older the card, the more impact you're going to make. And this is something that can happen literally in, like I said, in 7 to 10 days. So it's the difference between somebody having, a 600 credit score and literally within a week you could have a 700 and something credit score. Think about what your life would look like if you were to 6 and then, 10 days later, you could potentially be at a 725, right? And a 725, you can apply for credit cards. You can get a new vehicle. You can get you can start your business. You could, get high limit cards. You could finance furniture. You could, it's endless, right? A 600 credit score, you're lucky to get a Capital One Platinum card with a $300, $500 credit limit, right? So that's how the power of trade lines work because you can really, really utilize it to your benefit. They are a Band-Aid. It is not a fix. It is not a fix that's going to stay on forever. Trade lines stay on really for about 45 to 60 days. So this is something where someone says, look, I'm looking to go into a mortgage. I'm trying to get a new car, and I'm trying to do this before Christmas. Okay. Are these recorded by date? Do you guys have these dated? As in, like your listeners are knowing what the date is.
Some of the program itself.
As in, like today's date.
Yeah. Okay. It would say. Yeah. It would say today's date, right?
Okay. So they know it's October 8th. Okay. Right. So what I recommend to anyone who is looking to have good Christmas. We've got a couple things that are time is, as we all know, time is not promised tomorrow. Yesterday's gone, never will come back. And we all are blessed to be able to be listening to my voice right now, and I'm blessed to be here to do this. But I say that to tell you this is that the only change you can make is in the moment right now. And I tell people this: look, we're at October 8th. We've got Christmas coming up. What would your Christmas look like if you could have credit cards? If you could be able to provide for your family for a nice Christmas, the holidays, and you also have FICO coming out. You guys don't know about FICO 10 coming out. This is going to be a disruption in America when they send out the new FICO 10. It's really going to affect a lot of people that are under 650 credit score. So if you're sub 650, FICO 10 comes out in the December, January of this year. they're going to be able to look back 24 months of history. It never in the history has a credit scoring model been able to look back 24 months, what you've done over the last 24 months with your credit. Every lender in America now can only see a snapshot of what your credit looks like when they pull it right there live. What they're going to be able to do is go back 24 months. And by doing that, you're going to be able to see everything of how you spent credit cards, how you've got your late payments, how you manage your loans, how you missed your payments. My recommendation is this. You don't have time to wait. You want to have a good Christmas and you don't want to get really spanked by FICO, because it's going to happen to a lot of people, unfortunately, is you got to take action on your credit. And we find a lot of people that they've lived with bad credit so long that, until it's a dire emergency, it's a comfortable thing. You got to get out of that comfortability mindset of, I'm just okay with having bad credit. Because if I can tell you that within 60 days you'd have results, and I've helped thousands of people in the last 60 days alone literally change their lives, why would you wait? And it's just about a mindset of just changing how you think. And if you want to provide for your family and you want to have nicer things, then you've got to take action step. And that's taking that action step is to call me. And if you call me, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you. 904-420-7772. I'll work with you. I'll help you and really help out your listeners here. And that's the goal. We want to help everybody out. We want to spread this across America. I've helped, like I said, that's thousands and thousands of people in the last 60 days alone. And I've been doing this many years. So, but that's how trade lines work. They work very fast, very effective. And they work at a capacity where the higher the credit limit and the older the card, the more impact it's going to make to the credit score.
So Mike, let me ask you this question. The question I would ask would be this: How would a trade line affect someone with a thin file?
It would actually help you more.
Okay, and what would be the time element that would be involved if they with a thin file? A thin file, for those that don't know, is that someone that doesn't have credit or very little, if not any.
Yeah. So my recommendation, if you had a thin file or no credit at all, would be to add 2 or 3 trade lines, because you're going to want a couple on there, not just one. And you will have greater impact, because think about trade lines like this. It's an account on your credit report. So if you have 30 accounts on your credit report and you add a trade line, well, the impact of a trade line is going to be minimum because of the fact that you're adding 1 into 30. Now, if you added a trade line or 2 onto someone who doesn't have any accounts and they're all positive now, you're going to get much better impact of credit score and a much higher credit score quickly by having less accounts. So trade lines actually work better for people who have less accounts than they do more accounts. Yep. So thin files tend to be thin files. Maybe you have 1 open credit card. Maybe you have a few negatives. It's okay. But I would recommend getting at least 2 trade lines. Is usually what I would do. 1 with high credit limit, a couple of years old, and then something with a lower credit limit. That's got some age on it. Something over 10 years old. Put that paired out together right there, and you're on fire.
What would you say was a reasonable element of time? Instead of added the trade line, what would be a reasonable element of time for them to from going from no credit score up into the 700s?
If you have no credit at all, I would say probably 3 weeks.
Wow.
It'll be over 700.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Over 700 in 3 weeks if you have nothing on your credit. If you're a thin file, no credit, never had credit, or maybe you just, who knows? Maybe you came out of bankruptcy or maybe you went through a credit sweep and you have nothing negative on your credit. Trade lines are going to be the fastest way to boost you up to get you in a position where you can start getting your own credit cards. You see, you can't use the card. If I were to add you as an authorized user with my credit card, you can't. You don't have access to the card. But what it does is it shares my credit with you. So then it enables you to be able to go out and get your credit cards for yourself. Whereas if you didn't have those lines on there, you'd have to go through the old school process, which is getting a secured credit card and making 12 payments on it, and then they unsecure the credit card, and then you get a little baby Capital One card, $300 to $500 limit, and it's a long process. Trade lines are kind of the fast track, the new 2020 concept that allows you to kind of skip all that, put a few trade lines on, and then within 30 days, generally, you're in a position where you can start applying for your own credit cards versus years.
That's good.
That's huge. Yeah, it's huge. It's unbelievable. I wish I would have known about this earlier. Oh my God.
So what you were talking about, definitely one of the things that once a person gets into the 700 plus scores, one of the things that people need to know is how to keep that score, because there's different things that sometimes that people do because they don't have the information that will lower the score, and there's some things that are true and some things that are false. Could you expound on that?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So the problem with America is not the person. So anyone listening to me now, you're not the problem. The problem is we, and I talk for myself here as well, is we were not taught credit. No school in the history of schoolism has ever taught credit. Unfortunately, they don't want you to learn credit. I mean, if anybody on here can tell me that they went through credit school, I would like to know who you are. Please call me at 904-420-7772 and tell me that you went through credit school. Unfortunately, nobody ever taught credit in school. And, and myself, I never had, mom and dad to help me with my credit. So to answer your question is this: it's not your fault that you have bad credit. It's the system's fault that we were never taught it. So the credit game is basically is everything encompassed for you to not only can we help you raise your credit score into the 7s and even into the 800s. The problem with what America is not being that they never knew how to maintain it. Now you do. So what I do is I walk you through step by step in really, really short videos and great content. So that way you never have to pay a credit repair company again. You never have to go backwards again. Because again, maintaining your credit score is much harder than getting to that 800. I can get you to an 800. The problem is, do you know what to do when you get there? Are you educated enough to say, hey, I'm an 800 credit score now. What do I do? Do I know how many times I should apply for credit cards? Do I know how often? What credit cards should I get? What kind of interest rate should I be looking for on vehicles? I got people that write me, and it's sad. I'm blessed. And these people write me on Facebook and say I'm blessed, and then they've got a picture of a car they got, and it's a 2011, and it's a Honda Accord 2011. And they put quotes like "I'm blessed," and yeah, although they are blessed, they put next to it paying $650 a month. And so, for me, that seems to be like somebody that has probably a 500 credit score. They were blessed to be able to get the vehicle, yes. However, that car that's a 2011 Honda Accord, you should be paying somewhere like $250 or $300 a month for the same vehicle.
Yes.
You're at $650 and you're ecstatic about it. And so what I teach in the credit game is to never go backwards. So once you get there, it's never paying a credit repair company again. It's that education that's been missing that nobody wants to teach. Nobody did teach it. I didn't get taught it. My parents didn't teach it to me. I never learned it in school. So what I go through is I go through the principles of talking, and I do videos on it. Like, again, this is not, the credit game is not just all copy and straight education. I go through and do videos, Larry, on very basic steps you could take immediately that a fourth grader could learn. And so I break it down really easy. Like, if you got to make a decision here, here's what you need to do. Once we get you to a 780 or an 800 credit score, here's how you don't go backwards. Here's the tips of all the people that have an 800 credit score. Here's what they do. Here's tips of people that, apply for vehicles and how to get the best interest rates. Here's how you go to a car dealership and not get 15 inquiries. All the things that ruin people's credit, because if you sneeze wrong and you don't know what you're doing with credit, you drop 100 points. And so what I do is I teach the maintenance of it. And what most people do is they close old credit cards. This is one of the biggest misconceptions I see in credit. People think that if they close an old credit card that they never use, is going to help them. And that is one myth that I'm going to bust right now. Anybody who tells you to close an old credit card you're not using is pulling your leg. And they don't know anything about credit. You never want to close an old credit card. Because when you close an old credit card, you are losing all of your history. And that is going to tank your credit score. So that's just one tip right there. Setting up your payments on auto payment, right? I talked to hundreds of people. I did a survey with over 100 people. And I asked them, anyone with over 800 credit score, what did you do to maintain your 800 credit score? And when you know that 35% of your credit score comes from your payment history, then you would recognize and say, what was the common denominator for people who wanted to keep an 800 credit score and never go down if they knew that 35% of your score was made up by your payment history? Well, what they did was they set up their payments on auto pay. So my vehicle and all my credit cards, I don't have to worry about each month. Because if you miss one payment, it's 35% of your whole credit score. Today, I'm at an 827 credit score. If I missed one payment and I'm at an 827 credit score, I could literally be in the 600s. So that's how careful that you have to be. Again, this is the credit game. This is a game. This is not like something that you don't take seriously. I put the credit game because the more you play it, the better you get. And that's why I do daily YouTube channels, videos for you guys 6 days a week. That's why I come on the radio show, because I want to teach people that to get a better credit score, you have to put this first. This is an adult toy, right? Credit is an adult toy. And for children, we have toys, we have sandboxes, we have, basketballs and footballs, and those are kids' toys. As an adult, you have to have a good credit score, because if not, you're dealing everything with cash. Everything is going to be a cash payment. And so when you learn how to really leverage credit and use it to your benefit, it's a world of a difference of life. I've got enough credit to where if I didn't want to work for the next 5 years, I could live off of credit cards, right? So just from the availability aspect of it, that's not including from the standpoint of I don't have to pay for flights. I don't pay for hotels because I've learned how to do travel hacking. I've got enough points on my American Express. I can fly around the world many times and not pay for flights. From the standpoint of getting the best interest rate, 0% interest rate on my vehicles. I lease my vehicles. I have the best interest rate on my homes. Credit cards with extremely high credit limits. Understanding how to balance transfer. There's so many things that you can do. Start a business. When you go to get an apartment, even just changing apartments, it's tough for some people because they don't have the credit score to do it, and so they got to get a cosigner, right? And then a cosigner, you got to ask a family member or a friend, hey, will you sign for me? And so again, as an adult, I just want to share this with the listeners. This is an adult game. Credit is an adult game. It's time to buckle down. It's time to get it fixed. Be the man or woman in your house to say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of having bad credit. And when that happens, you'll call me and you'll say, Mike, I'm sick and tired. I'm ready. The old adage is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I can be on this radio and everybody can be listening to it. But until somebody picks up the phone and calls 904-420-7772, nothing happens. I could hand you a gold, I could hand you the winning lottery ticket, right, on a gold platter if you want it. If you don't bring it to the store to cash it in, ain't nothing's going to happen with it. It's the action that needs to take place for people to fix their credit. And so I put this together literally, I built the credit game for myself, and now I just share it with the world. And it's been an absolute blessing to be able to have a system that truly works and works in such in a fast. People these days in 2020, they don't want to wait. Right? There's companies out there dragging you along for months, 16, 18 months, 24 months. I talked to somebody yesterday. They told me they were with this company for 8 years. I said, 8 years you were with a company paying a monthly fee. 8 years. I said, how would you like to have results in 60 days? They were like, what? I would have been with the company for so, again, technology, I've got the best vendors in the world for software. I've partnered with them for the trade lines. You're going to get significant, up to 75% discount on trade lines. You're going to get the elite credit repair as part of any of my program, and you're talking results in 60 days. Game changer for your holidays. And again, going back to FICO, I hope that you make a move, because if you have less than a 650 credit score and you're listening to this and you're not calling me already, you don't have much time, because when FICO 10 comes out, it's going to be it's going to be a world of a storm for people that don't take action. It's going to be very difficult to get things if they don't take action today. Seriously. And I mean that, because you'll look back and you'll go, Mike said this on October 8th that FICO was going to come out at the beginning of the year. And I procrastinated and I didn't take action. And now when you try to go get a car or a house or an apartment or try to get some credit cards or a loan, good luck. Because they already adopted the system at that time. So it is very, very key to take action.
Mike, excuse me, give your number again. Give your number and website again and all those hours.
Absolutely. 904-420-7772. I'm willing to work with anybody. We're not going to let money stand in the way of you getting the help you need. And my website is creditgameu.com, like university, creditgameu.com. And my hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm there on Saturdays from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So moving right along, one of the things we had talked about how people, they're looking at their credit and they're seeing that that their credit is in disarray. And you had mentioned that I want you to definitely speak on the elite credit repair and how you partner with them and exactly what they do. You mind sharing that question again? I apologize. It came through. No problem. I was saying that if you would you elaborate on elite credit repair? You had mentioned about their eliteness, the elite status that they have, and why you partner with them.
Yeah, so I partnered with them because I was in the industry servicing clients, and now I'm in the education piece because I believe that if we can, to get to my mission of changing the entire nation's credit average score from 667 to over 700, I got to be able to not feed a man a fish, but I got to be able to teach a man to fish. And so by doing that, I've created the credit game. And like I was sharing earlier, it is something that is duplicatable, and you could take that program and literally use it and use the same program for a family member, friend, coworker, client, etc. On top of that, I have partnered with the Elite Credit Repair, which is the Elite Credit Repair is the fastest credit repair on the planet. The reason for that is because it bypasses the old school letter system. The where you're mailing out the letters and you're waiting 30 days for the credit bureaus to respond, and then it comes back either deleted or verified, and then you're sending out your second dispute letters. That's the typical way of credit repair. And so while there might be some letters involved in this, most of the work is done with proprietary software, and we get a lot of answers. The answers come back much faster when you're dealing digitally. And so that's Elite Credit Repair. You do get results within 60 days. You change somebody's life in 60 days. I mean, you're a hero. And That's who we partnered with, is the number one company in the nation, because I send them so much business to be able to, to do the credit repair. I offer it with any of my programs as complimentary service. So he may have like an audit fee that he charges, a very small audit fee. I don't even know, it's like $50 or something like that. That's what he gets on the phone with you and goes over your credit. But I cover the entire cost of your elite credit repair for getting into the credit game. So that's that side. The other vendor is my trade line vendor. And the trade line vendor, because again, I send them so many people who get into the credit game. I send them so many people that we worked out a deal where you will get up to 75% off of competitive prices on trade lines. That again, you could use for yourself, your clients, your friends, your family, anybody. So where a normal trade line, may cost you, I'm giving you an example of, 20,000 credit limit that's got 10 years. If you do your research, a trade line like that might cost you $1,000, $800 to $1,000. Through my program, you'd probably be about $200 maybe for the same line. Yeah. So it's significantly less cost. And again, that's another opportunity to make money as well, because we've got people that take that opportunity right there. They purchase trade lines through my program, and they turn around and can flip it for regular price. So it's a money making opportunity as well for a lot of people.
What if you don't mind, could you also give your YouTube channel?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is The Credit Game. The Credit Game. If you go to YouTube, you type in The Credit Game. I just surpassed $250,000, so we're at actually I can tell you right now. I believe it's 265,000 subscribers, and growing steadily. It's been going crazy. It's been going nuts because people are just really to the point to where they are ready to change their credit, and they know that it's an important time. Holidays are coming up. People want it. People want credit cards. They want loans. They want a better house. They want apartment. They want vehicles. I mean, it's the perfect time. This is the perfect time to fix your credit. And with the credit game, it gives you access to the quick fix, but it also gives you access to the platform to where you don't have to go back and ever pay credit repair companies again, because you learn what not to do and you learn what to do. So when I make a credit decision, it's very methodical. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know credit like my kids' names. And so like if I have to make a credit decision, I'm like, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing here. This is what I do. This is how I know it's not going to hurt my score. I set up all my payments on auto payment. I call back to the credit card company and say, hey, I need you to draft the minimum payment out of my credit card, right out of my checking account. Boom, on this date. I want it 2 days before my due date. Boom. If you do that with your car payment, you do that with your credit card payments, you cannot miss a payment because they are going to automatically take it. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like that because they don't want to overdraft their account. I get that, and I understand that. So, this is for people that are in a little bit better financial situation where they're going to have, you don't have to make a huge payment, but I do recommend, doing at least a minimum payment. And then I would also put on overdraft protection on my savings account, just in case the checking account didn't have the money in there, they would pull from savings.
That makes sense.
So you never miss a payment. Because again, remember that 35% of your credit score is your payment history. That is the largest percentage of your credit score is you not missing a payment. So by setting that up, it saves you literally hundreds of points and mistakes.
Wow. So with that, I mean that's good. Automatic debit. That sounds really good. And make you take an automatic debit of your account. Definitely keep you from not making a payment.
Yeah, and that's what most people have late payments and collections. Most people that I deal with, and I've dealt with thousands of people, most people have late payments and collections. Now, how does it get to a collection? it gets to a collection because it first started with a late payment, and then it went 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late, 120 late, and then collection. If you can circumvent that and stop the late payment from happening in the first place, well, then you don't go to collection, because it doesn't just go to collection. It has to go 4 late payments before collection. So if you can cut it off in the beginning and get the late payment taken care of by setting it up on auto, because again, people are busy, right? Life happens, people happen, kids happen, life happens, and you have a bunch of credit cards or you have medical bills or whatever, and you forget to make a payment. Things happen, right? People get busy. And if you miss a payment, and you know, and here's another misconception. I want to talk about this one here as well, Larry, is that you have to remember, here's a little education piece that I think that a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people that think this as well. They believe that if you get let's say, for example, you end up with a late payment, okay, on your credit. What they believe is that, well, I've made 6 payments on time, and I accidentally missed my late payment. I missed the 30 days, and went 30 days late. Well, what most people believe is that when they catch it up and they make their next payment and they look at their credit report and they see whenever you get a payment on time, you're going to see 3 checks, right? Well, what's going to happen is you're going to see a little yellow thing that says 30-day late when you get a 30-day late. Well, what happens is most people believe that after the 30-day late, if they make the next payment on time, that late payment goes away. And unfortunately, that late payment is not going away and staying there for 7 years. So even though you catch it up, it does not take away the late payment that already happened.
Wow.
That is a huge thing that I hear all the time. Well, I'm caught up, I'm current. Yes, you did make 3 payments on time, and yes, you did miss 1 payment, and yes, you make another payment after your late payment. You made it on time, but that does not forgive that late payment. That late payment still is there, and it does not make your credit score go up anything by making the next payment on time. So you still lose all the points, even though you caught it up. That late payment doesn't get caught up. It never goes away. 7 years.
That's why they need to contact you at the credit gang, and you can get it off.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we have tricks and trades and things that, the secrets of learning credit, and like I said, I've dealt with everybody from every credit score known, is having the proprietary information, having those letters, having the system that we have with our vendor is really the key to knowing what to look for in your credit report. I mean, I can do a whole show really on removing negatives from your credit report organically, and really some of the things to look for that most people don't even know what to look for, that they could be removing negatives from their credit report by just learning a few tricks. What are some things on the credit report that, if they actually knew, were incorrect, how to actually challenge that information? Because anything that's negative, incorrect, obsolete, unfair, unduly on your credit report can be challenged. And so if you understand the incorrect part, which is the most important part, and you're looking at all 3 of your bureaus and something's a little bit off and you know what you're looking for, well, then you can dispute it and actually have it removed. And there's, again, this is a game, and if you learn how to play it by getting on the credit game, I teach you all this stuff.
Wow. Well, you know what, Mike? I all the information that you're giving to our listeners and to us who are participating in this particular program right now is very vital. And I believe that, we're actually going to do a series. We're going to do a series of shows with you, and maybe as one of the shows in the series, you can give them, the listeners, some tips in regards to removing some of the late payments. The thing, what happens when they're given a charge off, and how that works, and we can get into the specifics of that as we look at the whole game of credit, the credit game itself, because it is a game, and if you don't know how to play the game, you lose. You can't play the game if you don't know the rules.
That's it. That's exactly why I built it. You said it perfectly. You'll lose if you don't know what you're doing. But when you learn how to do it, boy, is it fun.
Well, before we get out of here, I want you, like I said, to give your office phone number, your hours, and your website, and also your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So you can find me. If you guys want help, again, I'm willing to help anybody. You guys call in. Let us know when you call in. You're calling in from the show, from the radio, KBRG. Just please mention that so we know you're calling in from that. And you can reach me at 904-420-7772. That's 904-420-7772. And my website address is creditgametheletteru.com. Creditgametheletteru.com. And you can also find me on YouTube at The Credit Game. So just type in The Credit Game in YouTube. And my hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're on the West Coast. If you would leave a message, if it's after hours, we'll get you first thing in the morning. And we're also on Saturdays as well from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me give you that phone number again. It's 904-420-7772. Look, it can't hurt to call. And it's that's the action step that needs to be taken. And we're willing to help anybody, especially with the holidays coming up. We're willing to work with anybody to help you change your life and have a great holiday, and not really, like I said earlier, is with FICO 10 coming out, you really need to take some action today. So I'll be looking for your call. We're here to help you no matter what. And I appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, our joy, our honor, and our privilege. Mike, I just wanted to make a statement in regards. Mike does a video. He puts a video out every day, a new video. He puts it out every day. And with that being said, I want to thank you again. Bless you, Mike, for opening up our eyes so that we can see all the obstacles that are in our way, and that we can see clearly now that we've heard this information, and it'll soak into our minds and it'll change our mentality and mindsets.
Amen. Appreciate you.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be bright